Welcome to the Clyde FC Podcast, brought to you by A State of Mind. I am Paul Shanks, and we are back after what was a quite bruising opening weekend for the Bully as we suffered a very heavy home defeat at the hands of Dumbarton. To go through this, we have a new face joining us, a man who we will do a wee spotlight on and discuss his role at the club. We have Dave Jameson joining us tonight. Dave, how are you doing, sir?
Not bad, boys. How are you?
Yeah, all good. We've had 6 days to calm down, I suppose. So
yeah, I've just got over it myself.
Yeah, it wasn't pleasant, Boise. How are you doing? You've been a busy man, moving house. How are things settling down now?
Yeah, not too bad. Just getting stuff sorted and ready to be back for away days, really. It's going to be a good time tomorrow, hopefully.
Yeah, our first comment of the night, I think, pretty much sets up the kind of mood of how things might pan out. It is going to be interesting. We can't beat about the bush, boys. It was a very, very, very horrible performance, a horrible result. Dave, coming to yourself as the newbie on the show, how did you see the 90 minutes? Obviously, you had a particular view yourself from the opposite stand. How did you see the performance? Was it any better through a camera lens, or did it just no? Right.
It was very much the opening 10 minutes was what it was always going to be. It was nervy. We didn't really come out the blocks, and then when the own goal went in, we just never recovered, and there was no hunger, it felt, for anybody to come back and get a goal back in. And then it just stemmed from there. Dumbarton took control. And I mean, when the second goal went in, you were hoping there was going to be a spark, and still there was no spark. And then they just killed the game off. It was just salt in the winds at the end.
Yeah, Boise, I've kind of wrote in some notes when I was trying to calm myself down ahead of tonight, but we were all quite emotional, and it's been an interesting week when you look online at the reaction. Everyone very, very, I would say, angry and upset at the performance. That there wasn't a lot of positives to take from it. If the league is a marathon and it's not a sprint, we pretty much get kneecapped at the starting line, didn't we?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Mr. Big Time here with his initials on his new merch.
Hey.
Finally got it.
It's got to look the part, don't we?
Absolutely. But no, the game, disappointing start to the season, obviously. We were looking to get off to a good start and 3 points. But listen, it's happened now. We need to move on. We've got to dust ourselves down, as Paddy said in the commentary, and really look to attack Montrose. And we'll go into that tonight, obviously. But I'm hoping we can have some therapy with all the Clyde fans watching and maybe just go through everything and then move past it and never talk about it again.
Yeah, Martin is a regular commenter on the show. Welcome, Martin. Interesting, more like a post-mortem. I can't disagree, Dave. But we do need to dissect what went wrong. There was a lot. To do that dissecting, we will actually have one of our starting 11 from that day. He probably won't thank me for bringing that up, but he has more positive stories to share from his time at the club, and I am referring to Barry Cudahy. Barry will be joining us in approximately 15 minutes, so that should give us at least enough time to go over this and hopefully draw a line in the sand. Now, we'll come back to yourself, Dave, before we do crack on with the Dumbarton post-mortem. Can you just give the fans just a wee bit of insight? They may be aware of your work, but perhaps not even aware that it was yourself that produced it. Can you just give wee insight as to your role at Clyde Football Club?
So I basically, in a nutshell, film the games now from the away stands. I used to be up in a nice warm box with a radiator, but I get punted from there because of the stream camera now. So you'll now clock me under the scoreboard. And I provide all the secondary angles, and then whisk back up the road and get it edited and get it out. Now it's going to get out for midnight on match day. We have just signed a partnership with a computer firm who've provided us with good tech. So the highlights will be coming out a lot quicker. Previously, it was on a machine that I was chucking coal into. So we're getting there slowly but surely. But yeah, it's basically on match day, I'm just coming up and filming, and then making sure everybody can see it.
Good stuff. Is there anything that can the supporters get more involved in, maybe putting some ideas across as to, not that we're saying that your work's not up to standard, but looking at ways of improving, giving maybe a different dynamic to the outputs to it. Is that something that we can open up to the comments?
Absolutely. So there's always scope for change. And there's not been a great deal of development in it over the last... I mean, I've been there now. This is season number 3. I still to do a full season with the whole COVID. So we are still very much in a kind of development with it. Somebody might be sitting there with an idea that's just going to take it up a level. So absolutely, any suggestions, ideas, whether it comes directly or people commenting on the highlights themselves, we'll try everything once. Yeah,
unfortunately, what we can't do is change the fact that if we concede a goal, we can't blank it out. Just a quick comment before we crack on with the Dumbarton, and Boise, will come to yourself to break it down.
Thanks, Paul.
You're welcome. I just want to take a quick minute just to thank the club for what was a lovely video played at the minute silence in memory of those that we've lost at the club. Ex-players, staff members, and of course fans since the beginning of the pandemic. And God McLaren has just posted about that, just saying that the club excelled themselves last Saturday off the park, and sometimes that underpins what the Clyde family was about. The applause for all too many lost was perfectly respected. Far too many lost. And just ripped my headphones out. Hopefully Montrose are going to suffer tomorrow. Yeah, I think we're hoping, Boise, after last week's bruising defeat, we're a wounded animal just now.
Yeah, I mean, I think the team that we've got should be doing a lot better than Saturday. I mean, Dumbarton have improved in certain areas. They looked hungry for it. So they've got a new manager as well, so they'd be looking to impress. But at home, you're really looking to beat them. And yeah, just going on what Dave's saying as well, I think for the highlights package as well, I think that's really improved over the last couple of years. We've got the reverse angles and stuff, so we're really getting up there. I'd also like to ask the comments on the commentary side. If anyone's been watching that, what can we, improve in that sense? We're kind of looking at it as a group as well. I'm involved in it. Paul's involved in it, to really enhance that product so that it's worth the money for fans tuning in if they can't get to games. So please let us know what you think.
Yep, absolutely. So let's not shy away from it anymore. Let's break this down. It did finish Clyde 0, Dumbarton 3. It was a horror show. I can't think of another phrase for it. A capitulation. Yeah, I think the first 10 minutes, Dave, you mentioned it was quite a nervy affair. There was very little in it. I thought we started okay. We weren't brilliant, but we were okay. And then the own goal just pretty much set the theme for the rest of the game, Boise. Yeah,
I actually thought we started quite well. We had a couple of moves forward. Well, I love it, the heart of it. Unfortunately, the first goal, if we're going to start going into it now, and it was a theme for the game. We seemed to get caught on our left-hand side at the back quite a lot. There was a lot of spaces opening up. The first goal comes a guy that I really like in the lower leagues, Joe McKee. I would have loved to seen him sign for us this season, but it didn't happen. He puts in a great ball. From the stands, we were talking, was there any communication between Mitch and Ballatoni? Unfortunately, maybe not. And I think Ballatoni tries to put it outside the post, one of those ones, but unfortunately goes in. There was possible pressure from the Dumbarton man 5 yards away, but just a poor goal to concede, I think, especially so early on, and that unfortunately seems to be a theme for us recently.
Yeah, it really has become habit, and it's a habit that we can really ill afford to continue, Dave, especially with a nod to tomorrow. We're going up against a team who had a 3-0 positive result away to the highly fancied Airdrie team. Things really are kind of feeling as though they're stacked up against us. There's a lot of comments, and we will cover them all. We will not just put anything positive, but we will bring the, dare I say, negative comments, and that's not just like anyone. Everyone has their opinions here, but we're not going to shy away from the fact that it was terrible.
Got to cover both sides.
Yeah, I mean that's what it is. We can't sit here and go, it was 3-0, but you know, on another day, Ross Cunningham's cross could have drifted in at 1-0.
It could have,
but
I wish it had.
Realistically, it probably wouldn't have done an awful lot because the rest of the performance just wasn't there. Dave, we'll come at yourself on the next point. It's been one of the main discussion points, I think, online over the past 6 days was the position of David Goodwillie and how effective or ineffective that was on the day. Certainly, I would say ineffective. Would you say that was one of the key takes from it, and not just the fact that obviously the defence was particularly ropey as well?
See, I always judge it on how much a player's on my lens. And Goody wasn't on my lens for any more than 2 or 3 minutes for the whole game. So that in itself sends a message that if he's out there, the ball's not getting to him. So it's a difficult one. Danny's obviously trying to mix things up and get all 3 front players being able to switch about so that they can surprise the defence. But I don't know if it worked with Goody out and Jones in the middle. I've not seen enough of Jones yet to justify that. And when you're not performing up in the top 3 and your back 4 aren't talking to each other, makes it nigh on impossible for the midfield boys to do anything with it because the ball's just getting past them both ways.
Yeah, I'm just going to quickly touch upon when you're saying Danny's obviously mentioning things, and there was his comments post-match were very brief. You could tell that much like ourselves in the fan base, he was hurting, he was angry. Post-match, Danny said, first of all, I would like to apologise to the fantastic support that we had here today. To wait 16 months and to have to go through that is not acceptable for the standards that this club sets. He went on to add, at times like that, when you see the game going against you, you're looking for characters, your leaders to organise, and I didn't see a great deal of it. It takes time to gel and connect, but you must always be a one. But I felt at times we were disconnected. For the standards that we set ourselves and the squad that I have there, it was very disappointing afternoon. Now, Boyce, I believe it was yourself, maybe mentioned a lack of communication. There didn't seem to be a lot of that going on, and that was, considering we have certainly a higher intake of experience in this squad as opposed to, say, last year, that was a real disappointment.
Yeah, I mean, it seemed to be like that. Maybe there was something else going on, I don't know, but there just seemed to be a bit of nervousness. Maybe it was the first game of the season, you know, with all the fans back, a fantastic backing from the first minute. We've got some new flags. They look great. But yeah, just listen, I'm just hoping to sweep this under the carpet. Obviously, we'll talk about it tonight and hopefully can talk about a good result against Montrose on Saturday. Our guest tonight, I thought, you know, was one positive from Saturday. Looked really good when he came into the middle.
Yeah, he is Mr. Dependable, and you have linked me on perfectly. We will obviously cover Dumbarton in more depth once we do get Barry on. So yeah, we'll welcome Barry in. Now, Saturday did disappoint, but the one thing that probably hasn't disappointed since signing in 2017, I believe, summer of 2017, is the commitment and performances of our next guest. Since joining the club, he has played 147 games. I'm hoping I'm remembering this right. 8 goals, 16 assists, and yeah, one absolute worldie, which I think is only right to introduce him with. So he's capable of moments like this.
being hounded by Sam Wardrop. That gets away with it. Barry Cudahy has a goal and it's in! Wow! Wowee! First goal of the season scored by Barry Cudahy. Didn't see.
Can I just say that wasn't a bad camera angle?
Yes, it's the man that made a commentator say "wowee" live on air. It's Barry Cudahy. Barry, how you doing, sir?
I'm alright, Paul. How are you?
Yeah, good. We're just trying to relive as quickly as possible the Dumbarton game. Now with yourself online, it would be good to hear your thoughts on the performance. I doubt you'll probably disagree with many of the comments that have been coming in from Clyde fans. It was a poor day at the office.
Aye, it was first game of the season. You always want to go off to sort of 3 points, get a good start, sort of lay down the foundations for the season. But it was just a bit of an off day, to be honest. Nothing really sort of clicked for us. And the first, the first goal sort of knocked us back a bit. And we just didn't really seem to recover. So all in all, a bit disappointing.
Yeah, how's the mood been this week? Has it just been a case of accepting what happened, but using it and really working on obviously the negatives of the performances, which obviously we all kind of know what they were. The one goal went in and it just crumbled. I think you said, Boyce, earlier. We just kind of crumbled. And has that been the focus this week?
I mean, because it's a bad result, you just sort of sweep it under the carpet, sort of just as soon as the game was finished, we had our chat and that was it sort of done, we were on. Tuesday's training, Thursday's training. But obviously can't really forget about it. We need to work on what sort of went wrong and then sort of take into Saturday and try and improve, just try and get better, and maybe get a wee result tomorrow.
Yeah, it's not going to be an easy place to go to, gents. But that said, but we have went to Montrose in recent times where maybe not fancied. Even just last season, we were obviously not having a great time of things. We were fighting relegation. We went up there, albeit maybe a slight bit fortuitous in our opener. I believe we Lewis Jameson charging down a goal kick, or not goal kick, but a kick for the keeper.
You take them every time.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and that might just be the type of thing we need just now, just to get the season going. Because there's, I think, early doors in the Premier Sports Cup. Premier Sports Cup it's called, isn't it? Aye. Group stages. We were seeing some decent enough play. Dave, we'll come to yourself. There was some decent signs in it. It's just kind of stagnated a wee bit. I think that's where a lot of the fears are coming from in the fans just now.
Yeah, there was promising signs, certainly at home, and just translating from that into the first league game, it was like two different teams almost. And I guess it's coming back to the kind of communication. I mean, the only thing I hear for 90 minutes is Mitch shouting up. We have to pull him out of the highlights. That's still going on, but there's less action upon communication for the back. And I don't know if that is just the team has to gel. I mean, it's there's 8 new players in the starting lineup, so it's going to take a minute. We just don't have that minute, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I noticed was from pre-season, your characters, as Danny said in the post-match, like Ali Love, your David Goodwillie, they were very vocal in pre-season and even in the Premier Sports Cup. And against Dumbarton, as Barry said, probably just an off day. I buy into that, obviously. And it was just strange to see. There wasn't much, vocalisation on the park, which could have obviously caused the first and second goal.
Yeah, Barry, how would you maybe equate the high turnaround of players? Obviously, yourself and a handful of others are those that have kind of been here for the last couple of seasons, but this year's probably been the highest turnover in a good few years at the club. Is it just going to take an extra few weeks for the boys to really kind of gel and connect and really understand each other's games?
I mean, it is. I mean, yeah, I think you're right in saying it is a high turnover. So there's been a lot of changes to the team this year, probably than most of the other years. But I mean, we had a really good pre-season. You know, I think we only got beat maybe one game or something. I know it's only pre-season. You know, it's not really the real stuff. But with a really good pre-season, you know, the boys are gelling really well. I mean, it was just Saturday just didn't really seem to go for us. You know, we're trying to sort of galvanise, get something, but I'm really putting it down to an off day because pre-season has been really good, training's been really good. The boys are gelling really well, so I'm just as surprised as all you is just about the result.
So, yeah, boys, what do you think then? Is it not so much back to the drawing board per se, but it's a case of, right, let's get back to what was working in pre-season, as Barry touched upon, pre-season results. We covered the Broadwood Cup, some very good performances against Airdrie, albeit there was some trialists for Airdrie that day, but still a decent enough Airdrie team. And we played a lot of really good football that day. Stranraer, we were probably first or second gear. We got the job done. Perhaps fortunate to win, but I don't think it was as bad as perhaps some have made out. So, what's the next step? How do we bounce back?
So, I think the pre-season, as Barry said, it's pre-season. You've got to take it differently. There was so many subs during those games that killed off the games, and you've got a big half hour, 35, 40 minutes in the second half where things have completely changed and you're just trying out different formations, and then obviously that will get taken to training and worked on and so forth. I think that moving forward, we've got to stick to what the boys have trained, obviously. Danny's obviously got a plan. No one's not trusting Danny or Alan, so we've got to stick to that. We've got to believe in them. And I really believe this team can do something this year because the signs in pre-season were there. The midfield certainly did an off day. Barry, you certainly enhanced it when you went in. The engine is coming out again. But yeah, I just think we've got to follow on. I do have a wee idea of how we can attack Montrose tomorrow. Okay. Danny, if you're listening, maybe take that on.
I'm sure Barry will pass on your messages.
Absolutely.
If you want to look out for us.
But no, I think stick to what we've got, and I just got to gel and put it down as an off day. But there's no alarm bells yet. It's the first game of the season.
I'm instantly getting called out on my Stranraer comment, which I was expecting. Not as bad as made out. We were hopeless and should have lost by 2 or 3 goals. I would challenge that by saying, did Mitch have a save to make in that 90 minutes? I can't really remember too much. Lots of crosses, but pretty aimless in my opinion. But hey, that's what football's about. It's all about opinions, and we'll always air them as long as there's nothing personal in it. Barry, right, so we've talked on Barton, and I'm sure there'll be more comments coming in on that, and we'll look ahead to Montrose a bit later in the show. But we'll go back to 2017, the summer of 2017, and when you joined the famous Bully Wee. Now, you came to the club from Annan at the time where Jim Chapman, who had just moved and became Clyde manager at the same time. Now, can you remember much about the first season? It was quite a bit of a roller coaster all in, wasn't it?
It was. The first season, I think it was about most of the Annan team that came.
Yeah, I think that we were somewhat harshly, but maybe not harshly, getting called Annan feeder team at one point. Or
also, but it was a bit of a crazy first season. Obviously, Jim left just before Christmas, or was it start of December? Then Gaffer came in, him and Murray came in. So it was a bad start to that season, but we sort of finished on a high. To be fair, a late sort of playoff push, so we did.
Yeah, it was a season of almost two halves. If we want to try and amend a cliche here, and we love a cliche on the Clyde podcast.
We do.
The first 4 or 5 months, as you touched upon, Barry, it obviously led to the club and Jim Chapman parting ways, and ultimately Danny taking over. At the time when Danny took over, how was the morale on the team? Because we were struggling. Was it a quick turnaround, or did it take Danny just a few weeks to months to really get his ideas across? And ultimately, we obviously saw the benefits of that.
Yeah, I mean, the gaffer came in and, said, sort of said this, I was out this, because I think we're sitting with the bottom of the table or
second from bottom, I think, at the time, yeah.
There had to be a reaction. And that's it, I think, with, sort of, in the goals. I think when the gaffer first came in, I think we drew maybe our first 4 games or something. I think
it was a club record, 5 goalless draws or something like that.
You talk about steadying the ship. That's how you do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
The ship was sort of steadied, and then we sort of built off that and started picking up wee results here and there, and we slowly climbed up the table. So that sort of set us in good stead for the season after.
Yeah. The last 5-6 months, boy, it was an insane run of form. As Barry touched upon, we started second from bottom as Danny took over. There was some draws here or there, and then ironically, it was Montrose away that Danny got his first 3 points for the Bully Wee. Now, Martin Brown has commented here, deja vu. Now, we really, really do need 3 points tomorrow, so why don't we invoke the spirit of 2018 January Clyde team here, and let's go up there and scud Montrose 3-1.
One game in and we're already invoking things.
I'm just waiting for the people.
If it works, it's fine.
So we've got some comments coming in, some questions for you here, Barry. One that is going to be on every Clyde fan's lips. What is your preferred position? Now, the season where you won Player of the Year, you played right back. Now you seem to be back more in midfield. So where do you think, if you were Danny and Alan, where are you playing yourself?
Well, I'm a midfielder, to be honest.
Right.
So that's where I grew up playing. It's probably where I feel most comfortable, but I can play sort of right back, sort of putting a shift there as well. So, and so I played across the full midfield, so I'm sort of comfortable in a few positions, which is always good.
Utility man.
Aye.
Jeremy Reynolds commenting saying Barry Cudahy loves putting it top bins. Tell me I'm wrong. It's impossible to tell you you're wrong, Kieran. That goal was, we will come to it. It was an absolute belter. So yeah, that first season we just narrowly missed out on the playoffs. On the last day, we were waiting for, I can't remember, was it Stirling or playing Steny, and we played
It was Steny.
Berwick at home, I think we were. Can't remember. Barry, you'll be able to correct me here. You lived it, played it.
Just Steny's were involved. I think they got the last space.
Yeah. I can't remember. We were waiting. I think we needed to score maybe 4 or 5 or win by a 4 or 5 goal kind of turnaround. And it wasn't to be, because in true Clyde fashion, I think we lost in that last game. But the following season, it all just clicked, didn't it, Barry? Can you take us through your memories of the promotion winning season? Because I'm pretty sure everyone watching will be quite happy to relive it with you.
No, it was a brilliant season. Everything, we got sort of new players in the summer, the right players that we needed, and everything just clicked. We were just picking up results every game. We felt so confident getting in and winning. Even though a lot of games we actually were falling behind quite a lot, but sort of managed to turn these games around. You know, we're going in at like 2-0, 3-0. And we're drawing at the end of the game, you know, or notching a win. So
yeah, Boise, some of those matches, and Dave as well, that you'll remember, as Barry touched upon, being I calculated it at one point the amount of points we won from pretty significant losing deficits that season, two goals behind. As you touched upon, I think you've got Berwick away, we're 2-0 down, 1-3-2 in injury time.
Yeah.
You had the Peterhead 3 each game. There's more, but my age is failing me here and I can't remember. Please help me out.
Yeah, I think one of the big things that season was the team mentality. For me, that was the winning factor. I think we had good players, but the way that everyone got on and everyone played for each other and not only just individually, I thought was the outstanding kind of bit of that season. Certainly had a few good memories that season. The 3H game, as you mentioned, just I think my heart had to have a rest that summer. It was something else.
Yeah, and I think we were quite unfortunate in that game as well. There was a questionable penalty.
Move on quickly.
Don't make me start. Black's going to be having an embolism if he's watching this and out at the referee's performance that day. But yeah, let's move swiftly on before we get closed down. Just can you think back? Obviously, there was a lot of players that are no longer at the club. You've got your Ray Grant, your Chris McStay, Scott Banks as well, who's looks like he's going to be making a name for himself down there. There was so many memorable moments. Was there one in particular that you can look at and go, at that point we knew we were going up that season? And don't just say Ali's penalty, because there was only 3 minutes left that day.
I don't know. I mean, certainly when we got the points deducted, I thought, oh no,
this is it.
You know, probably before that, I thought, you know, we're probably going to be up there. You know, we were challenging for the league anyway at that point. So I knew we'd be up there, and you know, sort of challenging, if not for the title, then the playoffs, and obviously feeling quite confident getting into them. And
we swept everyone aside, quite frankly, in that playoffs. I know we did lose the first leg against Dan, and Cudahy missed a penalty, somewhat uncharacteristically.
Just made it more fun.
It did. It made it more fun. We would never do it the easy way at Clyde. It just makes it all the more stressful, though. And
it's where all my hairs went.
You and me both. So yeah, obviously since the last couple of seasons in League One, Barry, how have you felt that? Obviously, it's as a step up from League Two. That goes without saying. But how much more difficult is it than League Two? Obviously, we as a club have kind of struggled, but we've got there. We've got over the line and stayed up. But what do you feel that we really need to wise up on and to take that next step?
I mean, it is a step up. You know, it's a league above. But it's weird because I feel like we do well against the sort of big teams. You know, we've shown that past couple of seasons. You know, we can certainly compete with a team that are sitting at the top of the table. But then, you know, we could go and beat them one week, and then the next week, you know, we could be getting beat off a team, you know, around about the same as us in the league table. So it's certainly, I'd say, like, sort of consistency, you know, and sort of when you need to, you know, grind out a result, there's nothing wrong with grinding out a result in this league, you know. We 1-0 in that, because that's what it's going to take. You know, you need results at the end of the day.
Yeah, I think even just looking at last season in particular, maybe even the season before, we've not drawn many over the last couple of years, and it's maybe Dave, we'll come to yourself here. Is that maybe just something that we need to get a bit wiser? Like, sometimes it's not always about winning; it's just about not losing. And losing can very quickly become a habit you don't want.
I think last season kind of showed that when we returned, that we got off to a bit of a slow start, and then it just became the ritual of it's going to be another game, it's going to be another slog, and it was hard to get out of it. Right the way down to the last game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think back if I have filmed a 0-0.
Hey, Clyde, I doubt it. I don't think we've had one since that run.
A 0-0 score. So it's becoming, it's becoming difficult to beat. Once you can master that and grind that part of it, then just that next step of getting a 1-0 or a 2-1, doesn't matter what it is, as long as there's more goals on our side. That's the most important bit.
Sounds so simple, doesn't it, Barry? When we talk through weekly, we just go, it's just about scoring more goals than the other, or no conceding as many as the other.
Just put it in the net, but forget about all the other things you have to do.
Aye, it does. It sounds so simple, but obviously you guys need to go out there. You need to execute game plans, and there are 11 guys in the other side that are looking to upset you.
Aye, well, I mean, football it's a simple game at the end of the day, Put the ball in the back of the net.
Or just give it to Barry Cudahy 30 yards for goal and he can rattle one in.
Well,
or as he did against Kilmarnock, channel us in a Messi and just go and beat 6 people. It was a stunning run.
Yeah, you just went for it that day in the build up to the penalty, Barry. Do you remember that run?
I kinda. I just sort of got the heat down and just
went for it. When we went full Forrest Gump on us and just kept going.
But nah, it's looking forward to tomorrow. It's Montrose. They got a good win last week. We got a poor result last week. So let's try and kick on tomorrow and let's start getting 3 points.
Yeah, boys, you love doing wee debriefs on the opposition, and
I've got a dossier on Montrose.
I'm not doubting that you do, right? So hit us with your dossier. You're going to impart wisdom here to Barry, who probably knows more about Montrose than us.
I was going to say, but before I do, Paul, I was going to ask Barry a question. So, speaking about how football's simple and going on to systems and that against Montrose, watching pre-season, I felt like the team has a bit of a change system this season. Is there been much change since last season? Like with Jones coming in, and feel there's a wee bit more of a system in midfield than last year?
Certainly Big Jonesy coming in sort of gives us a sort of new dynamic up front. For a long time we've just had Cudahy, who he's got quality. He's a quality. But Jonesy sort of gives us that more presence. A bit more direct. With his height. It just offers us something extra, I mean, you might go into a game and you might need a wee bit more directness, or another game you might need a wee bit more football played, so it's all about just getting a balance. And I certainly feel that we've got a lot of different players who can offer sort of different qualities going forward, which I'm quite about, to be honest.
Yeah,
it probably takes us quite nicely to this comment here then, boys, from Kyle.
Yeah, absolutely. So Kyle's asking, how far away is Gregory Taddy? As will be a different way to play. How's he getting on with the guys?
He's brilliant. He's a experienced player. He's always talking, offering advice to all the players. So hopefully we'll see him, in a Clyde shirt soon.
Yeah, see him again in a Clyde shirt. It was 12 years ago. We first saw Gregory play.
It's easy to forget he's got Champions League experience with Cluj.
He does, yes. And I think he played for a couple of decent teams in Romania as well.
Yeah.
Steaua Bucharest, I believe. Again, I could be wrong. No doubt I'll be sketchy.
Good to see Gregory back anyway.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And it's another option. It's about options, and I think, as you said, Barry, we've been very reliant on Cudahy up top. Dave, you'll have probably filmed Cudahy taking quite a few tackles, let's just say, and knocks over his time. We do need a wee bit more up top and different options. I don't think that's where the main fear at the moment is with the Clyde support. I think it's more let's sort the back, and I think the rest will fall into place.
It's been nice to see I think last year there was a lot of focus on getting youth players in, getting them in on loans. I don't know if that helped Cudahy an awful lot. I think surrounding him with experience now, once it clicks, because Cudahy's got oodles of experience with players that know the game much better. Hopefully it will just come together. It feels like it's on that kind of the edge. I think it's just a case of stick to plan A, but just do it a bit better.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying here, Dave. And this is where I'm perhaps maybe getting perceived to be a quote-unquote happy clapper. I don't want to come across that way. We're calling out what was obviously a really poor performance. But I do think that if we can just get that one thing to get the ball rolling, the snowball effect will hopefully then kind of kick in. Mark, I get what you're saying. If it doesn't, obviously we would be in trouble. But Barry, do you have? I don't expect you not to say anything other than yes here. But do you have belief that we are very close just to getting it right?
Oh, of course. We're all just reflecting on sort of Saturday, and rightly so. It's a league game. But sort of, I'm seeing it for training. I'm seeing it for all the other games. I'm really looking forward to it. It's just about you. We obviously need to show yous, the fans, when it matters in the league games. And hopefully, tomorrow that's where it starts.
Do you think that's why it maybe hit Danny so hard on Saturday? Because he knows it's there and he knows it's coming. And you can look at Saturday and think, right, well, if the own goal doesn't go in, is it a different game? It could have gone the other way and there could have been a bit of bad luck for them. And, it's such, I've learned very quickly in League One, it's such small margins that will turn an entire game.
Yeah, definitely. Goals definitely change games. It's, the fact, if we score us, what would that happen? It's one of the ones. That's just sort of football. Yous have watched it long enough to know that.
Yeah. So
there's a wee question from Dean which I like as well. So you're now going into your 5th season, Barry, as a Clyde player. How many more seasons will you be hoping to stay? Because I'm sure a lot of Clyde fans will agree with me here. You're a very important player for us.
Yep.
Cudahy committed to 25.
Yeah. Can we get 26?
Yeah, I think Cudahy said he was staying until he was 40. So that's at least another 7 or 8 seasons. So, right, Barry, let's hear it.
I'm 20.
Contracting.
I've got 16 years till I'm 40.
Right. Is that a double testimonial you get in 20 years at the club? I like it. Right, boys, so your dossier.
Absolutely.
We get sidetracked. Hit us with it.
Yeah, so obviously Montrose, they're a very good team under their manager. They're a very well-run club, and we always seem to have tight games up there, apart from when they're on Montrose's side, unfortunately. So their danger men, I've highlighted Lewis Milne in the middle. He's went on and played at a higher level, but came back to Montrose. Neat and tidy midfielder, a great record at this level, and they've obviously started very well at the weekend with a 3-0 win over Airdrie, in Airdrie. And Milne scored an absolute worldie that was plastered all over the lower leagues, SPFL socials. So I've highlighted one word here, energy. So I feel like if he goes up against Barry Cudahy, Barry's going to come out on top.
Right.
So bear with me. I'd like to see Barry in the middle, right? But on the other side of that, Andrew Steeves, as a left back, I've spoke about him in the show before. He's an eternal threat down the left for League One sides, and he suits Montrose's system. Now, Montrose like to stretch teams out, and then where we come in, as we said last season, I think we suit really well on the counter attack. Going with that, so. Barry, can you mark 2, man? But yeah, I think for me, a 5-3-2 would really suit tomorrow with Ali Love at left wing back. Now I know that might sound strange. but we need the energy going up and down. And then when those two wing backs for Montrose come up, we can attack straight right back. And it goes without saying, good Willie through the middle for me.
Yeah, obviously we did get a wee bit of joy in the home game. Cudahy getting a hat-trick in the 3-2 victory. Is that a type of a performance, Barry, that we're kind of going to be looking at to call upon tomorrow? We won't be fancied. I think we have to be honest enough. Montrose are going to be heavy favourites based on their home and obviously the opening league results for both teams. How do you think we go about putting a marker down tomorrow?
Score first, I think. Get the first goal. Hopefully that sort of settles us, and then we can sort of relax a bit and then sort of take the game in them again, But I definitely think first goal, it has to be us tomorrow.
Is that going to be a ping from 35 yards, Barry?
We'll see, but no.
A shooting sight policy. So, anything else in your wee dossier of tactics, boys?
Well, there's another couple of players that look really good for them. It's Kerr Waddle at the back. He's always been very good. We know him well. He's played with us before. And then Blair Lyons coming back as well. So he started on the bench, and that just shows their strength and depth, I feel. Because if Lewis Milne's not on a game, they can bring on Blair Lyons and possibly hurt us. So I think that's why we need to pack the middle.
Right, but we're trying to cheer ourselves up here, boys. Get where can we?
Yeah, no, I'm saying it positively. I think watching the game tomorrow, I'm going to go up. I'm first of all very, very excited to get back to away games, and I hope to see a big Clyde back in as well for the first proper away game of the season. But I think it will be a battle down the wings.
Yeah, battle of the wings.
Yeah.
What about yourself, Dave? What after Boyce's tactical analysis? What are you going to hit us with? Just score first, score more than them.
I've not played football manager for a long time, so I can't remember.
Me either. I just waffle on.
I think Barry's got it spot on. I think we need the first goal, and it'll be a case of building on it for there. Commit the blocks. Away from home, you're not expected to win. We got to lose. Go for it.
Yeah, let's just leave it all out there. I think that's probably the simple message from the fans to the boys here, Barry, is that, if you leave it all out there, that's all we can ask for. And I don't think there's ever any denying the commitment of the players. No. Sometimes things don't go for you, and as we saw last weekend, but we're drawing a line. That's the last we'll mention Dumbarton today, so no more comments coming in on it. We're ignoring it. It didn't happen.
Silence the audience, Paul.
I can, and I will.
Okay. I tried.
And I'll silence you if you talk back.
You don't have to tell to mute me.
I do. And, yeah. So if you want to get your starting 11 suit, as long as it includes Barry, because that would be embarrassing. In the comments, we'll bring some up, but I doubt Barry wouldn't be. Okay, so let's go back to your Clyde career, Barry. We'll go back to the opening game of last season and the clip that we showed just before you came on. What were you thinking when you got the ball from Ali? Were you always thinking, I'm hitting this? Or was it just you had no other option?
Well, I wasn't even expecting the ball for Ali. But I think he's ran inside, and then I've sort of run to go outside, and he's just slipped the ball through, and I wasn't expecting it. And then I don't even know, it was just sitting nicely, so I just went off, just hit it.
Did you know it was in the second I left your boot? Was it one of those ones?
I knew I sort of hit it nice, and I was like, it's on target at least. And then,
I think that's an understatement. You sort of had it nice.
Nah, it was good to get a wee 30 yarder, it's not often.
And then that just created a new phrase for the whole season.
Yes.
Online as well, with Scoops Callahan Gaming as well.
Yeah, you ended up creating what was essentially a meme and a movement. The Wowee movement online that went via Twitch and various other media channels. It just grew arms and legs. It was great. Absolutely great. So, yeah, if you want to do it again tomorrow, let's see what the Montrose commentators can come up with.
Aye.
Hey, boys, have we got any more comments and questions coming in for Barry?
Just a few saying that David Goodwillie has to start as striker. And I think Mark saying thinks it's obvious that if David Goodwillie will be up front, otherwise Danny Lennon will be leaving himself to criticism. Which I don't think we will see David at left wing again, because I think it was rectified at half-time. It maybe tried it and then realised that it wasn't working.
Let's put it to yourself, Barry. Was David in a left wing position, or was it
free role?
A kind of more free role behind Robert Jones?
I think it was more of a sort of free role, just to let him, pick up positions, just cause them problems, because when he's on the ball, especially running at people, teams don't really like it. So yeah, it was sort of a free role for him last week. So it was.
Anything else in the comments, boys? Are we moving on?
I think we'll move on, Paul.
We're moving on, right? I'm just going to get to my notes here. Right, so yeah, we touched upon last season, but last season is done. Montrose tomorrow is a I don't want to say it's a big game, but I think after last week, the fans are going to be looking for a bit of a reaction. Let's see what tomorrow brings. I do have a few kind of shout outs just before we start kind of wrapping up. So on tomorrow's match, you do need a ticket in advance. You cannot walk up. I believe there's a decent number of Clyde fans making the journey up to Angus, so safe travels for all that do. For those that can't, there is a live stream available, and it's at the cost of £12.50, and you can get that from, there's a specific live section of Montrose's website. A few things from the club. The new 1877 reward scheme is now available for people to sign up. There's 4 tiers. There's the silver tier at £10 per month, gold at £20, and platinum at £50. And there is also a 4th one specifically for exiles, and it's also at £10 per month. And there's a whole different raft of benefits for each tier, so please go and check that out if you're looking to take it up. You will also get 10% off any merchandise with the Gold and Exile. I hope I'm getting this right. Gold and Exiles. Platinum, 1877 rewards is 10% and 15% for platinum. I got there in the end.
A lot of good deals there, Paul.
Yes, a lot of good deals, so go and check it out, guys.
Yeah, reminder to get the merch online as well.
Yes,
with the lovely top.
Headless man here's modelling their away top, which Barry and the boys might be wearing tomorrow. And lastly, the Bully Fun draw. The deadline for the next draw is Sunday, so get in and or miss out, basically. Simple as that. So, yeah, Barry, just before we do wrap up, do you have a wee message for the fans? Obviously, it's been a difficult show tonight. It's not been full of positivity. We will get you on, hopefully, later in the season after we won 3-0. Do you have a message for the fans just for tomorrow and for the season ahead?
Yeah, I mean, it's obviously good to see them back in, last week. And obviously we've seen them in the weeks before that as well. But for the first league game, and sort of what is that over? I don't know. Last March, was it?
Yeah, 15, 16 months. Yeah.
So it was good. It's good to see everybody back. Big atmosphere. But also the sort of the tribute before the match with all the ones that sort of passed away. It was a nice touch for the club. Sad to see, but. It's just sort of part and parcel of life. But no, it was hopefully we we get a good travelling support tomorrow. You know we always travel well with the fans, so I'm really looking forward to an away match with fans.
Yeah, a noisy backing, gents. For anyone that is going, regardless of how we thought the boys played, let's get behind them tomorrow and let's see if let's get these 3 points back down the road from Angus. Barry, thank you very much for your time, and it goes without saying all the best to yourself and all the boys tomorrow. Dave, thank you very much for joining us. If you do get any more comments, and anyone who does maybe want to get in touch with yourself, can they just either reach out to you directly for kind of highlights, improvements, things that they were maybe looking to add in?
Yeah, you see me floating about the stadium. Pop up in the YouTube comments. And that's the best places to get me. I normally scoosh out quite quick after the game because I need to go home and get it edited. But catch me on the YouTube comments. I normally have a wee look through them.
Yeah, and a fantastic way to end tonight as well is with this comment from Kyle. As soon as the game kicks off tomorrow, last week's out the window.
Yeah,
absolutely. Let's get behind the boys and kick on for the season.
Yep, absolutely. Right, gents, that is all we have time for this evening. Unfortunately, we will be back next week to hopefully talk about 3 points on the board for the Billy Wee and a far more positive feel about things. Barry, thank you very much for your time, as we said, and all the best to the boys tomorrow. Boycie, thanks to yourself as well for joining me in the studio.
No worries.
Hopefully the drive home's a bit drier than the one getting through here. It was a bit chaotic, but until next time, we'll see you next Friday. Come on, the Billy Wee.
Come on, the football team.
Cheers. See you.